Hi, this is Mike with Choice Telecom here to go over some user training for your new Net2Phone Polycom VVX411. Just want to go over the physical buttons of the phone. First, you have 6 physical buttons that correspond to each line key in the display. On this side, we have also 6, but we don't have any key entries. We'll add some contacts here in a moment. We have 4 dynamic soft keys. These correspond to the options right above and can change dynamically throughout the processes of making calls. We've got a physical home button that allows you to access some different features. We've got a 4-direction scroll wheel with the enter button in the middle. We've got a physical transfer key, a check envelope, which is check voicemail key, a hold key to hold calls on your phone, standard dial pad. We've got a headset key, a speakerphone key, and a microphone mute key, as well as a volume control down and up. And so let's go over some basic settings and use of your phone. So the first 3 keys you'll notice in the display are all named with the user's name. In this case, it's myself, Mike Bromland. And those 3 calls should have a green icon. The green icon means that you're able to make and receive calls. So basically, to make a call, we can go ahead and pick up the phone. It will grab the first one of those 3 keys that we saw. And then we can dial an extension number and hit send, and that will call that other extension number. If we wanted to dial an outside number, we could pick up and dial. I'm going to actually use speakerphone for the rest of this, so we're going to hit speaker. No more 9 or 1. We could just do area code and phone number for our dialing out, and then hit send. And that will make a call.
Thank you for calling Choice Telecom.
So once we have our call on, we can go ahead and press hold. The hold key here will hold it on my phone indefinitely until I come back. And what you'll notice is it was green before when I was talking. Now it's flashing red on that key, letting me know there's a call holding. And I can either hit the word resume, this button, or the key that it's holding to get back to the caller. And then to hang up, I can hit end call, or if I was on the handset, just hang up that call. So let's talk about some of the normal type options you can do when you have a call on the line. So let me go ahead and make a call. I'll press dial or send after I type in the number. So I will make that call. Oops, let me try that again. And then, like I said, if we wanted to hold this call just on our own phone, we would press the hold key. That means that it's holding, waiting, and I have to come back to this physical phone to retrieve it by pressing the blinking key. But if I wanted to hold it on the system, that's where these park 1, 2, and 3 keys come in. I'll press park 1 while I'm live with the caller, and it will hold that caller on that park 1 key. And then I can either call an extension, so by picking up the phone and dialing its extension number and send, let them know, hey, you've got a call on park 1. Or if I didn't find them there, I can go ahead and hit page. You'll either see the word page or paging. If you see the word paging, that means there's some additional zone choices. But if you see the word page, you can hit page, pick up the handset. Bob, there's a call for you on park 1, and hang up that page. And then from any phone, Bob's wanting to retrieve that call, or any person, all phones will show that red light holding on park 1, and I can just hit that key. And now I'm back to the caller. I've got the caller live. So park is a good way to get calls that you don't know where the person is. You don't know where to transfer it to. You've got to page them or find them. But let's say you will just want to transfer, you know exactly where it goes to. So we've got our caller live. We can hit transfer in the display. And it defaults to what they call a blind transfer. I can type in the extension number I want and hit send. And it will send the call right away. The call is done, and I don't interact with it. That's what they call blind transfer. Now, if I wanted to announce the call and let them know or see if they wanted to take the call, then the process I would do is hit transfer. And then there's one more option to hit consultative. If I hit consultative in the display, then it still gives me that option where I can type an extension number, or I could type in an outside number like a cell phone number or any number. Hit send. Now it's calling that number, and I can announce this call to this person. Hey, Bob, I've got so-and-so on the phone for you. And at whatever point I hang up or release the call is when he gets the call. Now let's say he didn't want the call. I can, while I'm in the transfer, there's a cancel. If I cancel that transfer, that gets me back to the caller. Now I'm speaking to the caller, where before they were on hold. So I can transfer to an extension number, any number off site, either with the blind or, like I said, if I hit transfer and then consultative, then I can announce this call. And so that's basically the way to transfer. Let's say we're going to look at some of the other options here. Like let's go ahead and look at conference call. So if I wanted to make a conference call, I've got my first person here. I can hit more and conference. Now it'll put that person on hold and give me a new dial tone. I can hit a new number that I want to call and hit send. So when I've got that new number connected, then I can hit more and conference. And now, excuse me, actually I lost that first person. So I can hit more in conference, and now I've got both parties connected on the same key. It will put them on the same key. If I want to split the conference once I've joined people, I'll hit split, and it puts the two different people on two different keys. So I can go back to one person, talk to them, maybe hang up on them, and then go back. The other person's holding for me and deal with that call. So conference is fairly easy. It's yourself and two other parties connected. Let me just go over some of the other basic options. Do not disturb, D&D stands for do not disturb. If I hit D&D, it puts my phone in do not disturb mode, and what you'll notice is the icon changes from a green handset to now a little red circle with a white line in it, letting me know that I'm not receiving calls. Calls are going straight to my voicemail. And if I want to come back to allow calls, I hit D&D one more time, my icon goes back to green, and I'm set to receive calls again. We also can forward our phone to another phone or an outside phone. So I can hit forward. It will give me types of forwarding. So typically the most common is the first option, which is always. So it means you're going to forward your phone, and I can either type in an extension number and then hit enable, or I can type in a full telephone number, like a cell phone number. And then when I hit enable, now my calls are forwarding, except I had D&D on, so let me take D&D off. There we go. So now you'll see the handset with a little green arrow letting me know that my phone is forwarded. And up in the right, it will tell you it will cycle around Tuesday, May 22nd, and it tells me my number is forwarded to this number. If I want to release it and get back to regular calls, then I can hit always forwarding, select, and then I'll hit disable. And now my phone is back to not being forwarded. My icon is back to its normal icon. Let's talk about some other options. Actually, one last option on transfer. So if you had a call and you knew that your person wasn't there today, that you were transferring to, you could always, you could always transfer to their phone, and their phone would ring out to voicemail. But if you just knew that this particular person wasn't here today, then I can transfer this particular caller to voicemail directly by hitting more, Xfer to VM, and then I can type in the extension number and then hit enter, and that sends that call straight to that person's voicemail box. So let's talk about some voicemail options when you're checking voicemail and things of that nature. This is your voicemail key here, the envelope key. So to access voicemail, I'll hit that envelope key. I wait for her to say password, then I'll enter my password, then pound.
You have one old message. Press 1 for old messages.
So she'll tell you right away if you have new or old messages. It'll tell you press 1 to listen to those messages. Or we're going to press 0 to get into our options. So the common option right off the bat you'll want to set up is your outgoing greeting.
Press 1 to record your unavailable message. Press 2 to record your
So we press 0 for mailbox options, then we're going to press 1 for unavailable message.
After the tone, say your unavailable message, and then press the pound key.
Hi, you've reached Mike. Please leave me a message. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. Press 1 to accept this recording.
I can save it by
Press 2 to
pressing
listen
1,
to it.
press 2 to
Press
hear it
3
again.
Hi, you've reached Mike. Please leave me a message. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for calling.
Sounds good, so I'll press 1 to accept it.
Your message has been saved.
And then we've saved our outgoing greeting. The next thing we want to do, actually, we're in the same place, is we are going to record our directory name greeting. And so we're still in the options menu, and we're going to press 3 for our directory name greeting.
After the tone, say your name, and then press the pound key.
Mike Bromland.
Thank you. Press 1 to accept
We're going to press
this
2 to hear it again,
recording.
1 to
Press 2
save it.
listen.
Mike Bromland.
Press 1 to accept this recording. Press 2 to listen to it. Press 3 to re-record
And
your
if you needed to re-record it, press 3. We're going to save it.
Your message has been saved.
And that's important for the directory and the auto attendant. If they spell out your name, it will now use this recording instead of a generic spelling out the letters of your name. So those are the most common options. When you're checking voicemail, I'm going to go ahead and hit end to end call and voicemail. When you're checking voicemail, it will play the time and date stamp. To bypass this stamp, press 1-1 at the very beginning when it starts to spit off the time and date stamp. 5 to repeat the message, 7 to delete the message, 9 to save the message, and then you actually have 5 different folders to save the message to. You can save it to new messages, old messages, work messages, family messages, or friends messages. So it will give you an option to set up that option when you save it. So one of the things I wanted to show you, that was checking my voicemail. Now, if you wanted to check anybody's voicemail on the system, there's a code you can do, which is *95 and the extension number. And that'll let me dial into that person's greeting. In this particular case, we actually don't have it. What you would get is you would get the greeting of that person, and then you would hit *. At that point, it will ask you to enter the mailbox password, and that password is for that extension number you entered. So again, just *95, excuse me, let me go back, *95 and the extension number, and then I'll dial, hear the greeting. When I hear the greeting, hit *, it'll ask me for the password. I enter password and pound, and this way I can check any voicemail on the system, even if I'm not in front of that. Let me go ahead and show you some of the other basics of the phone and set up some speed dial and contact keys. One of the things I just want to show you is when you hit the home key, it gets you into your choices where you can see directories, for example, and settings. Sometimes you might need to go to settings if we have you update something. But here we're going to use the scroll key to go over to directories, and we're going to press enter in the middle. And this will show us our different directories. Our contact directory is the first option. We can also create our own favorites, and then it will show recent calls. So I'm going to go to contact directory and press enter. And it will show the phone users already, everybody that's in the system, their extension number will be here. But I can have an add, and I can add a favorite. So let's go ahead and add a favorite. It'll show first name and last name, so I'm just going to put in test, but you can put in any name. This is a text function, and you can use the little key here to go back if you need to. So first name, last name, whatever the last name is. Contact is where you put in either the extension number if you want to make a shortcut to an extension, or the 10-digit number if you want to make a speed dial. You can put in other information. Really, the first three, first name, last name, and contact, are the most important. So I'm going to scroll down, and favorite index, as soon as I went to it, it highlighted and showed me 1. This is where that key will be placed on my available keys. So as I start to create, I believe you can create 100 favorites. You can show the first 6 of them, say for example, on my 6 keys here. So I'm going to leave it as button 1, and I'm going to hit save. That will add it to my contact directory. I'm going to press home twice to get me back, and now we'll see it added that key. And now this is just a 1-button speed dial that will go ahead and call that number that I pre-programmed. Just want to show you some other basic functions about your scroll wheel pad. Each direction is a shortcut key to different options in the system. If I press the up on the scroll pad, then that gets me just to my favorites, like the one we just created. If I have a long list, I can scroll through the list and then dial whichever one I'm at. I'll press the home key twice to get me back to my normal screen. So that was up. The right side will show calls that I made, calls that I placed. So this phone doesn't have a redial, but I can scroll back and see that call that I made 5 calls ago, and I want to dial it again, I can. Press the home twice to get out of that. If I press the down direction, it will show missed calls, calls that rang to my phone, but I did not answer. So I can scroll through those, dial back anybody there. If you're part of a ring group, it might show missed calls for the group, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't taken care of. It just means that your physical phone did not receive that call, so it was logged as a missed call. So if you're part of a call group, you might want to check with the other people before you call back missed calls. The left direction on the scroll wheel will show received calls. So these are calls I actually received and answered. So it just logs everything. I can scroll through, give somebody a call back. Press the home key twice to get back to my normal screen. And that's it. Thank you for joining me today for some phone user training for your Net2Phone Polycom VVX411. This is Mike from Choice Telecom. Have a good one.